Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Hope you had an awesome weekend. We are back with a great trip report, and we're talking about 3 resorts. How about Copper Creek, Saratoga Springs, and a little Sapphire Falls over at Universal? Our friend Zeebs, who also goes by Matt in New Jersey, back on the show to share his trip that he took just about a month ago, where he went down to meet up a buddy because they really wanted to visit Universal. But of course, it turned into a Walt Disney World extravaganza as well. But we talk about his impressions of his first trip over to Universal in 20 years, thoughts on Epic Universe, and staying at Sapphire Falls. But he also stayed at Saratoga Springs the night before going to Universal, spent times at Disney Springs, great meal over at Homecoming. And then we really focus on his experiences at Walt Disney World for the first time. Geo82, the bar at Space 220, Beacon Barrel, Test Track 3.0, and much more. We also talk about Zootopia, Zoogether. That's a hard thing to say. Lots of fun talk on today's show, so here we go. Don't forget, today's podcast brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You're the all-stars that help us keep the show going. So thank you to each and every one of you. You can support us as well. Just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd sure love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2813 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a rocking weekend. And as always, thanks for kicking off another week with us here on the show. We have a great trip report for you to get this week started as you have all that hustle and bustle of the holiday season. We are in it. We're in the middle of it right now. You better do that shopping. Getting close to crunch time. Not quite there yet. This is about the time where I start to think about doing my holiday shopping. Not yet. Gotta get closer. Gotta amp up the stress. Getting close though. Soon. So the good thing about podcasts, you take them with you wherever you go. If you're still old school, if you're like Gen X and you're going to the mall to do that shopping, take us right along with you. If you're shopping online, same thing. Take the podcast with you, whatever you're doing. But we're going to do a triple resort trip report today with another back-to-back too. Here's a couple things. Back-to-back Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse All-Stars and back-to-back New Jerseyans. I guess that's what they're called. I don't know. Zeebs joining us today. Matt, Zeebs. We're going to go back and forth with that all day. Zeebs, thanks for coming on the show. Happy Monday. What's up?
Hey, happy Monday, Mike. Thanks for having me on for another show. Super excited to be back. It's always fun chatting with you.
I love having you, except you got better pipes than I do, so it kind of stresses me out a little bit. No, it's awesome. So how are things in New Jersey this holiday season? What you got going on out that way?
Yeah, things are going well here, just getting ready for Christmas. I already did pretty much all my shopping Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Spent way more than I needed to on others and maybe myself a little bit. But yeah, things are going well. Kids are doing great, getting older. We're going through some renovations at the house, so things are crazy around here. But otherwise, yeah, don't really care too much for the cold, but I like it better than the heat, so I can't complain.
That leads me to a question that I have to ask, because I asked this with listener DePauli last Monday, because again, she was from New Jersey. We had her on the show talking about her awesome cruise on the Disney Dream, which again, great show. Everybody loved it. We got awesome feedback. So it was great having her on. But she's again from New Jersey, and Paul, another one of our Clubhouse All-Stars, He mentioned in passing in the clubhouse that it doesn't snow in New Jersey. It just cold rain all the time. And like that just made me sad, because at least here in the Midwest, it gets cold, but we do get snow. And at least if it's going to be cold, you should get snow, because at least snow's fun. It's pretty. It's good to see. are you going to back this up too? That New Jersey is just a cold rain place. I mean, you don't get snow. That's sad to me.
I feel as the years have progressed, we have gotten less and less snow. I remember last year we had a good amount of snow where there was like a nice covering all the time. Cause I remember sledding with my kids in our backyard. So I feel like last year compared to definitely other previous years, there was a bit more snow, but I would have to agree where there's just not as much as there used to be, especially when I was a kid. We used to get buckets, back in the 90s and early 2000s. So, I'm 37 now. So, I think I can agree to that. So
that's sad. Kids today need the snow. I mean, but the thing is too, the kids get off school at the drop of a snowflake. I mean, it's crazy. Like,
not around here.
Oh, no. Not there. Okay, well, it's good to know. Okay, well, I appreciate that because
it's not like the South where no one knows how to do anything.
It's wild.
I'm talking about like Georgia and North Carolina and South Carolina.
Yeah, so. I heard they don't have snow plows, but some days it's like, well, there's a threat of there might be a snow, snow might be coming in 2 days. Oh, AMI day, everybody get the laptops out. It's like, what?
We had a storm come through yesterday and it was icing in the morning and there was ice all over the roads. Didn't matter. The plows already came through with the salt. So the salt was on my side road by 7 a.m. It's just like they are just on top of it.
Well done. Well done. We could all learn from New Jersey. All right. So real quick, before we jump into your trip report, let me ask you, because I usually ask like Disney background. We've talked about that with you. So what right now in the current Disney news, like what do you think Disney's doing well right now? Like what's something you're excited about outside of your trip report, things we're going to talk about tonight, like some of your new experiences with like Beacon Barrel, you did Zootopia, Zoogether. I still can't say that. That's the dumbest name. I'm sorry. That name is so hard. Like that's kind of change. But I mean, what do you think something in general Disney's doing well right now?
So this trip was part Universal, part Disney. Well, we were talking more about the Disney portion, but I think now that I've been to, because I had not been to Universal in over 20 years, and I went to Epic Universe, I think Disney is finally understanding that they need to match Universal with their themed lands. Because after seeing all the different Harry Potter lands, but especially all the lands at Epic Universe, I think Disney's now realizing like, we have to get on their level. They've already done that with Pandora and Galaxy's Edge, but I think they still have a little bit more ways to go. And hopefully Monstropolis, helps out with that. And, we have the Tropical Americas coming out. So I think they're learning a bit from Universal, at least from what I saw when I was there. So,
okay, let's kind of start with that because your trip we're going to talk about today, when did it take place? It was just recently, like it was within the last month, correct?
Yeah. Mid-November from the 12th to the 19th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did Universal, you did Walt Disney World, 3 resorts. We're going to talk a little Sapphire Falls, which is a really nice resort down there because I did a resort tour a few years back. Stayed at Cabana Bay, but I got to tour that one. I really did like it. But you mentioned Epic Universe, and I just want to hit on that real quick for a second.
Sure.
So haven't been in that theme park. You're a Disney fan, but visiting Universal, you said for the first time in 20 years, obviously first time in that theme park. What is a Disney fan like specific? You got a couple like 2-3 specifics that kind of jumped out at you when you toured that park that like, wow, this is next level. This is something that maybe was really well done or something that surprised you that Disney still does better.
I don't know if I could say that there was things that I think Universal is doing better, but when it comes to the theme lands, like the Nintendo World was awesome. I grew up playing Nintendo, Super Mario. I'm not so much into it right now, but that land was awesome. Like you're just fully engrossed in that land. The Donkey Kong area was phenomenal as well. But also like, I'm also a big How to Train Your Dragon fan. So seeing the Isle of Berk, and I know, Mikey, you probably don't know too much about that. I know you're not a big movie guy, but like just being part of that world, seeing like they had characters floating around. When I say characters, like kind of townspeople. So that was really cool that in Isle of Berk, they just had like random townspeople interacting with those characters or with the guests. But also like just Harry Potter land, it's themed after Paris from the Fantastic Beasts movies. And just the theming of that was just so cool day and night. it's it's tough to say maybe what Universal is doing better, except that I think the detail is there more. Like, I feel like I could spend so much time in those lands and really look at the detail more than like what Disney has done. Like, I remember when Galaxy's Edge first came out, I spent so much time walking around, looking at all that detail. But comparing it to these new lands, I feel like it's on a whole nother level where there's even more. And they not only built, not even just one land, they built 4 new lands. Well, I guess technically 5 with Celestial Park in the center. So it's even just more impressive to me. So yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that does. It does. Now, let me ask you just one more kind of follow up on that. As far as over at Epic Universe, like as far as the getting around the theme park, how it, managing, queuing up for attractions and wait times and stuff like that, getting food, and stuff like that. Was that a challenge? Was it easy? Was using the app smooth? I mean, how did you, as a guest in the park for the day, how did you feel the whole experience was?
I thought the experience was great. So my buddy and I, I guess to give some background on this trip, the trip started out with my friend and I. He lives in Atlanta. We've been best buds the longest time, so we barely get together. We knew we wanted to do Universal, and we've been planning this for 2 years. Like, pretty much since Epic Universe was announced, we were like, hey, that's the time. Let's finally go do it. He's more of a Universal guy, and I'm a Disney guy, so he's been trying to get me to go to Universal for a long time. But with my motion sickness, I never really wanted to go as much just because of the rides, and I can talk about that too in a bit. So the trip started out always to be Universal. So we booked a package, and we ended up booking Express Pass because I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I'm ever going to go again anytime soon. So I'm like, I'm spending the extra money doing Express. So with the Express Pass, it works like Disney's Premier Pass, where you just show up to a ride and you go ride it. So I also kind of toured the park similar to how I would with Disney. So like if I want to ride an attraction twice, we did it at earlier times during the day when the wait times were not as long. So for example, Donkey Kong. People don't really go to the Donkey Kong minecart ride, which ended up being one of my favorite attractions. People don't go to that first. So that was one of the first things we did. We got on it with a short wait, and then at nighttime we saved our Express Pass to ride it again at night. So that's kind of how our thinking was with that. So the Express Pass was so worth it, so worth the extra money, especially if you don't go to Universal as often. I think it's worth it. But one of the things I definitely think Universal does better than Disney is how they do mobile order and quick service. So you mentioned the app. So mobile ordering is essentially the same when it comes to Disney, but I think the one step up they have is that you go to a table at the restaurant and there's a QR code, and you scan after you you order your food in advance. Say you're in line for a ride, you order your food in advance, get a time slot, and then you sit down at a table, scan the QR code. Then that's when you tell Universal that, okay, I'm here, and they'll bring the food to your table.
That's sweet.
So you don't have to worry about trying to camp out for a table, because that's such an issue at Disney, especially at like lunchtime. It's so hard to get a table. Yep. So you're like wandering around trying to get a table. But for those busier times, like one of my must-dos was going to the Harry Potter quick service restaurants, Leaky Cauldron and Three Broomsticks. It was lunchtime for Leaky Cauldron. They did have a queue, and they would sit you at a table when one becomes available. So like I had to wait maybe like 10 minutes, but it was also height of lunchtime, like 12:30, 1 p.m. So I had to wait for a table. Then once I got there, scan the QR code and go. So it's like, you're not searching around trying to get a table. You're in a queue. Like it's more organized than Disney. So like, that's the one thing I think Universal does way better than Disney right now. But the other small things are Universal has a ton more hand sanitizing stations, as well as water bottle refill stations. I would say that's more Epic Universe thing, because I think since it's a brand new park, they were just like by any bathroom was a water station for like regular water fountains and a refill station. So I never had to worry about trying to find a refill station. So.
Probably because it was conceived right after COVID. Like when they were
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
a lot of
Yep.
things were kind of as they were in the works coming out of
But
the pandemic.
Disney did have hand sanitizing
they
stations.
did.
I noticed when I
Ever.
went there to the parks after Universal, they do not have them anymore. Like
They
it's-
used to have
I
them
did.
everywhere,
They used to, but I was so used to Universal having them after every ride, where when I went to Disney, they just weren't there anymore. And I'm not trying to get sick. I've gotten COVID after I've gone to Disney World. I've gotten other sicknesses, so I'm always sanitizing now. So
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
So that's interesting take. When you mentioned that thing about the QR code, the table, they bring it to you. I think for like a minute, Disney was doing a test at Be Our Guest restaurant back when it did the hybrid thing, when it was counter service and table service. I want to say that, now again, this I feel like sometimes these things that talk about it here is a fever dream and it didn't happen. But I thought it for a while there, they gave you like a rose to take to your table. And you would take, like, you would order your food. They give you a rose. You'd sit the rose on your table, and the rose somehow let them know where to bring the food, and they would find you. Like the rose was like somehow attached to your order. I thought that was sweet. Now,
I
if
missed out on that one.
everybody's listening. If you're like, you are full of it, Mike, that has never happened. I don't know, but I thought they tested that because that'd be it went away. So obviously it wasn't a successful test, but. Because you're right. The battle, you got to get in the like holding pattern there, kind of like an airplane waiting to come in for a landing, trying to find a table, especially if you're a solo or somebody. It's so hard to get a table.
And the people hoard tables too, because they're just like,
you're not even eating. Get up.
I
hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got so much to get to. So let's talk about tell us about Sapphire Falls though. I want to hear about your stay there because people are always curious about the hotels. What did you think of Sapphire?
Yeah. So we were doing 3 nights at Universal. So we knew we were both going to be there early in the morning. So we wanted a pool day. So we were going from a Thursday to a Sunday. We just wanted to have a nice pool, and we didn't want to spend too much money. And I was looking at the pools because I don't know how Universal labels their hotels. I still think there's like deluxe, moderate, and value.
Yeah, they have different. They're like premier. Because I don't book Universal anymore. I
Yeah.
haven't for years, but I did used to.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I would say
I
would say
it's like in the
Sapphire
middle.
Falls is like a moderate
It is.
resort.
It's kind of like a moderate plus. It's like it's like it's in between a moderate and a deluxe. Because they have like 4
Exactly.
categories. It's kind of like a moderate plus, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So we chose that one because I was looking at photos and it had a really great pool area. The pool was big. There was a slide. There's palm trees. It just looked nicer than a lot of the other resorts. Like Aventura is right next door. And the pool just looked super boring. So we're like, if we're going to spend all day, like, because we were at the pool for like 4 or 5 hours. We were there for a long time on Thursday, just chilling. The weather was just gorgeous. So that's one of the main reasons we chose Sapphire Falls, but also because it has boat service to City Walk as well as the entrances for Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. So yeah, but it was great overall. Huge lobby. I actually thought the lobby was way more impressive than the Grand Helios lobby, which is their like new flagship or new hotel over at Epic Universe. I was actually like kind of disappointed with that lobby. I thought it'd be more grand, but it was not. So, but yeah, Sapphire Falls was great. I think if you're looking to get a nice resort, save a little bit of money, I would honestly do Sapphire Falls. And what's good is they have buses to Epic Universe, and what I didn't know beforehand, there's 2 stops between to Epic Universe. So it's our hotel, then I forget the other one. I think it's like I forget. But we were the first stop. So I was literally on the first bus out in the morning, and the bus was packed. By the time the bus got to the second hotel, only like 6 people got on, and that line was huge. So there's an advantage of staying at Sapphire Falls and going to Epic Universe, because then you don't have to worry about, packed buses. So
Good job. That's a good tip. My 3 picks over for Universal: Sapphire Falls. If you're going to go value, Cabana Bay is awesome. It's like Pop Century on steroids with a bowling alley in it. I love that place. And the deluxe that I like are the nicer Royal Pacific. It's like the Polynesian. It's super sweet. Hard Rock's pretty cool too. Okay, so let's jump into your Disney side because that's why people are here. And so
Yeah.
you stayed. So that was one of your hotels. You also did a Saratoga and Copper Creek on both ends of this. So let's get into the planning of this. So how did you kind of determine what was going to happen with the layout of the trip overall?
Sure. Yeah. So originally, like I said, it was just going to be a Universal trip. Um, and I was supposed to take another, like a really big trip in September, but we unfortunately had to postpone it to next September. So I had all this extra vacation time because like my wife she got away earlier this year without the family and stuff. So like this was the trip in September was supposed to be more my time, and then I was supposed to have this small Universal trip. But because that other trip in September didn't happen, I was like, hey, do you mind if I just do Disney? And she was like, yeah, sure. So originally I was going to do, after Universal, I was going to do 2 nights at Caribbean Beach. Actually, no, I had Port Orleans booked, but then I was like, let me switch to Caribbean Beach. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to add a 3rd night. So then I added a 3rd night to Caribbean Beach, but then I found a better deal for Copper Creek. So then I switched it to Copper Creek for 3 nights. And then I was like, you know what? I don't feel like flying in, because I was on a 6 a.m. flight to Universal. I was like, I don't want to fly in that early. Let me stay at Disney the night before. So at the beginning of my trip, I booked a Saratoga Deluxe Studio. But it didn't matter anyway because of the whole TSA and shut down earlier this year. That's when they were canceling all these flights. It was like my week. They were canceling these flights. So I ended up booking a 6 a.m. flight anyway that morning. So like my plan kind of went out the window, but so that's kind of how it happened. It kept evolving. My trip just kept getting bigger, mostly because that trip in September was canceled. So if anyone was able to follow that, I did first 1 night at Saratoga Springs, 3 nights at Sapphire Fall. Then I finished at Copper Creek. Those nights at Disney were by myself. Only my friend and I were together for those Universal nights.
Cool. So we got
just to clarify.
So we have kind of the 30,000 foot picture there. So basically Saratoga Springs was just like an add-on to get there so that you could roll with the Universal and be, it's kind of like what you would do for a cruise, basically. Like I'm here, that way my package are ready to go.
And I chose Saratoga because I wanted to go to Disney Springs. I knew that's all I wanted to do. So, and I'd never stayed at Saratoga Springs before. So, and I'm happy I did. I loved it. So.
That's what I was going to ask you. So, because Saratoga is kind of to me, there's a few resorts that are outliers, right? I mean, like the All-Stars are kind of all the same. I mean, they got different themes. The moderates are pretty similar. Coronado's kind of an outlier in the category. Mm-hmm. But Saratoga, it's immense. It's spread out. It's kind of out a little bit by itself. But with it being adjacent, so close to Disney Springs, one thing, Saratoga doesn't have great dining on site. It hardly has any dining on site, really. It has Turf Club. Not great. Yeah. But you have amazing dining right across this way there at Disney Springs. Great shopping, great entertainment. You were only there for 1 day. It looks like you went to Jock Lindsay's. You went to Homecoming. I mean,
I got a lot done in that 1 day.
Exactly. So. I mean, it is, especially for the time of year you were there right at the beginning of the Christmas season. But I mean, so Saratoga, it sounds like it fit your bill there for what you're looking for.
Yeah. I feel like I had extremely good luck this trip, especially when it came to Saratoga Springs, because my flight landed at 9 a.m. and I was in my lift by 9:30, and within 5 minutes it said my room was ready for 10 a.m.
Yeah, that's super lucky. I need some of that because I usually don't get that.
Yeah, I've never really gotten my hotel room that quickly, but maybe it's because also I went at a slower time of year, because like it was dead when I was at Disney. Like it was not busy at all. That's why we chose this week, because it was after Jersey week, after Marathon, but before Thanksgiving. So Saratoga Springs, I also got really lucky with my room placement, because I was in the rooms that were right next to the paddock pool, which unfortunately was closed, but the rooms were right there. I had a first floor room, and it was a great view of the small little lake they have with the big water fountain coming up.
Yes.
And it was next to that long bridge that goes across. So like my walk to the carriage house and to where the dining is and to the boat docks for Disney Springs, there was only a 5-minute walk to get to the boat dock. So like I had really good placement with my hotel room. So I think that's maybe why I was a little bit more happy with Saratoga Springs, but also it was gorgeous resort. You know, I grew up going to Lake George and also going to Saratoga because horse racing was a big part of my childhood, mostly because my dad, but also my aunts and my uncles and others, they loved horse racing. So I went to Saratoga a lot. So like, I'm also kind of, so it kind of felt, you know, nostalgic for me. But I loved it. You know, the Artist Palette, I think I just had breakfast there. You know, they didn't really have too many great options for breakfast. I ate there because I was heading to Universal, you know, like by like 9 a.m. I was kind of heading out of there. But I loved it being so close to Disney Springs because originally I was actually going to do the water park. I was going to take advantage of the free water park day because I was like, you know, screw it. You know, I'm here, you know, let me try the water park. But there was that cold front that came in to Florida where it was like 40 degrees the night before. So when I landed, it was only 50 degrees.
Yeah, you made the right call.
I'm not going to go to the water park anymore. So my morning was spent going to Disney Springs, and then I did a bunch of shopping, had lunch at Homecoming, and went to. Then I was like, you know what, I got to make some of the use of the pool at Saratoga, where I took my book and I read for like an hour or so. And then I met some friends by 5 o'clock at Jock Lindsay's, and we were just roaming Disney Springs, hopping around for the rest of the night. So
that's a great way to start, though. I mean, that definitely kind of scratches that Disney itch before you go over to Universal. Yeah. I love that because you can do that. Okay, so we kind of talked Universal, so we could talk maybe a little bit about maybe that on the end, but here let's kind of jump back to when you came back over to Disney and talk about some of the stuff you did there. So you start off with Epcot. We get into the theme park. So I want to talk about some of these because you did a lot of first-time things. I'll make sure we get your takes on these things. So at that Epcot day, you got to do, because Remy has just changed from 3D to 2D, and it's, because I haven't seen it yet. I've done it many times in 3D. It's not getting the best reviews in 2D. I kind of want to get your take on that. What did you think? 'Cause you've seen it both ways now. What do you think?
Yeah,
and you say you have motion sickness. I have motion sickness with like screens and stuff too. Remy doesn't bother me too much. But where's your take?
Yeah. So the day before we were in Islands of Adventure in Universal Studios, I will not be going back there anytime soon because everything's just all screens. I was in a constant state of being nauseous all day long, and I don't know why I kept going on the rides. I thought I'd be okay, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I had never gotten like motion sickness with the 3D. I actually always prefer 3D. I don't know if it was because I got so sick the day before. Remy 2D got me.
Oh my gosh.
First time.
Oh, no.
It got me in my motion sickness. I was just like, all right, I don't know if I want to go on that again anytime soon, but I don't know if my body was still so sensitive from the day before. So I don't know. I'm still a huge fan of 3D. I think I'm one of the only people that really loves 3D. I still try to go to 3D movies. But I prefer the 3D. But saying that, I still think it's good in 2D. But I don't know. It affected me with my motion sickness compared to 3D did not. I
just wonder about it, and I trust Disney, because like I always say, like the people were worried when they brought Jack Sparrow to Pirates. That's awesome. People were worried about when they brought the Escher Staircase to the Haunted Mansion. That's awesome. Like, just chill out, trust Disney. But what does make me nervous, though, is that this was built as a 3D attraction. And then, to kind of go in and they did it so quick. They kind of retrofit things, make it 2D. I'm just curious, and then people, I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see it for myself, get down there pretty soon. And cause there's so much new stuff.
I've heard a lot of mixed things. I think more people prefer 2D than 3D, but yeah.
And
I think it's going to be one of those things where you got to judge it for yourself to really understand.
Those glasses are pretty big on that ride, man. They're a heck of glasses. For somebody that wears glasses, like I got a lot going on there when I'm trying to ride that back in the day.
Yep.
Okay, so you also did the Space 220 bar. Okay, so how was that experience for you as opposed to like restaurant? You went up to the bar, the lounge.
Yeah. So my buddy, his number one thing to do at Epcot was go to Space 220. No matter how we did it. I originally got a reservation for the restaurant, but we really didn't want to do that because of the prefix menu, and we just really wanted to go get a drink and like an appetizer or something. And I couldn't get a reservation for the lounge. I found that there's only like when I was there, I finally found out there was only like 8 or 9 tables for the lounge, and it's just extremely hard to get those because the tables are so limited. So if you have a tough time getting a lounge, that's probably why. But so my friend had mentioned because when I was down there solo at Disney, I have 2 local friends there that I met up with a lot. One of them told me, they're like, hey, try to go there early so you can try to sit at the bar. And I was like, okay, I didn't realize you could do that. So by 10 a.m. we got there, the rope wasn't open, or it wasn't open yet. Mm-hmm. So we were like, oh, we're on Mission Space. Let's go do that. I regretted that decision because the motion sickness got me there.
I was like, wait, whoa. If Remy got you, dude, you're living dangerously over there. Yeah.
I've always been okay on the green version.
Yeah.
But it got me. I'm like, no, I can't. What am I doing on this? So that was a bad decision. But by the time we got off, it was like, close to, it was like 10:30, 10:35. And then finally the rope was gone. So you could now walk up to Space 220. So we get there, talk to the guy at the front desk. He was like, listen, if you want to be one of the first sat at the bar, I'd recommend, because the restaurant opened at 11:30. He was like, start waiting by 11, and then you'll probably be one of the first people there. But I talked to my friend, I'm like, well, we're here, this is literally the number one thing we want to do today, why don't we just wait? So we waited 50 minutes, but by 11 o'clock all 10 seats would have been filled. So if we went away and came back at 11, we wouldn't have been one of the first people.
See, that is so crazy. Like who even knows, like 99% of the people at that theme park don't even know there's a bar. But 99% of the people at that theme park probably don't even know there's a restaurant in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's a bar in there to queue up for. Like
everything
is so hyper competitive for. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. There's only 10 seats at the bar, and it's first come, first serve.
Wow.
So, and we were in there for, a bunch of us left by like after 45 minutes. So I recommend if this is something you really want to do, go there when it first opens and try to stand there early. If it's something you really want to do, be one of the first ones in there, because it was awesome. We were literally the first people to sit down at the restaurant, and it was great. We had a really great experience, and my buddy loved it. I ended up getting the Reuben sandwich, which was phenomenal, the corned beef sandwich or whatever it was. It was like pressed down. On this trip, I was only drinking mocktails, which actually this could be a good conversation talking about food. But like I'm on a medication right now where like I can't drink alcohol for 3 months. So this was the first time kind of dizzy where I couldn't drink alcohol. But also, and I'm a very open and honest person. And what I'm about to say, I think other people might find this helpful or have some good information, because I think now there's a trend of people using the weight loss drugs like the GLP-1. I'm on Wegovy, so I am on a weight loss drug, which I can't eat as much as I used to. So I had to think about how I ate at Disney very differently, because when I went to Disneyland in August, I tried to eat the same way I usually do at Disney, and it was not a fun time. Mm-hmm. So when I was here at Disney, I really had to think about, okay, I can't have alcohol, but I also can't eat as much as I used to. So I really had to think about what I wanted to do that wouldn't like also hurt my stomach at the same time. So at Space 220, I tried both the mocktails, which were actually really good. The Pop Rocks one was a lot of fun putting those in.
I've heard about
and out of all the places,
I've heard about that. We used to do that at Space Camp. I love that they do that. That's so fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And honestly, out of all the places that I had mocktails from, because I went to I went to a lot of different lounges and restaurants, and they had the best mocktails. Surprisingly, Disney is not great with mocktails, as I thought, a non-alcoholic beer. But I had a great time at Space 220. My friend got some really cool drinks. My friend asked the bartender, "Hey, can you just make me a cool cocktail with, I think, like bourbon or something?" And he made this like awesome drink that looked like a Milky Way. But then another fun thing that happened was, and I was so jealous that I couldn't drink. The people down the end of the bar, they heard about this thing called the space shot. So the bartender had asked everyone else at the bar, like, "Hey, these people, they're going to get a space shot. Does anyone else want one? No pressure." But of course, my buddy was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And it was like a really fun experience because the bartender's talking about this story and this background on it. I don't even know. It was just some kind of like made up story that he had, but he had everyone put their phone on the table, put the flashlight on, and then when he made the shot, he put the shot on the flashlight, and it, like, when it's lit up, it's so cool. I have a video of it. I'm gonna have to try to trim it down, and I'll try to put it in the Discord, but the video I have is too long, and Discord doesn't take those long videos. But if you're sitting at the bar, order a space shot, and like, it was just like another fun little experience that we had over there that I don't know if you would get it sitting at the restaurant or the lounge. So it might just be like a bar thing. So
you are okay. I gotta stop you because you are killing me. Okay, I gotta tell you a quick story because when you said that, I almost fell out of my chair. When I worked at Space Camp down in Alabama, right? I taught teachers. Okay, so I didn't teach kids. Let me just make this clear. I was an instructor in the education department, and I taught teachers every week for 6 days. They would come in on a Tuesday. They would graduate on a Sunday afternoon. And so I was teaching adults, teachers for professional development all week, right? On our adjacent to our campus, where the teacher stayed at University of Alabama, Huntsville, which was across the street, but adjacent to the Space Camp campus was a Ramada Inn. Okay, and in the Ramada Inn there was a nightclub called Otters. It was a bar and a nightclub.
Such a weird name.
I know, Otters with like a little otter, like for its little mascot. So all of our, there was like 10 of us that were on staff. We were all teachers from all over the country, and we were like the Space Camp staff, right? We were the I taught science in St. Louis. Somebody taught science in, there's a couple of Alabama teachers, North Carolina, Arizona, California. We were from everywhere, Texas. Anyway, we all taught the teachers all summer, but we'd all have a team of 17 teachers on our team. And so the staff would go over to Otters a couple nights a week because like we were living there all summer. We didn't have anything to do because we're all from out of town, right? So we go to Otters. Well, sometimes the teachers would be like, "What do you guys do here?" Like during the week, and then we go to this place next door, and so we'd take them with us. Sometimes we'd all go there to dance and stuff. But the long story short is that bar would do a they did something called the space shot. And it had a whole story to it just like that. I don't know if it was the same story because I didn't drink or anything back then, but I was like, when you said that, because they'd be like, space shot, because the whole Huntsville's like a real tech community. Like it's all tech companies, and like space is their big thing with the Marshall Space Flight Center. But they did the space shot, and I'm like, oh my God, like when you said that, I'm like, I wonder if that bartender is like from Huntsville or something, and he worked at Otters back in the day.
I'll send you the video, and maybe it's the same bartender.
Such a side story. I was just like, when you said that, my jaw dropped. Kind of like, oh my God, memory from 2002. Okay, I know you're probably like 5.
No, 2002. I was 13 or 14.
Oh, stop! Oh my God, stop! Okay, we got one of the other. Speaking of all this other stuff, you went to Geo 82. So, what did you think of Geo 82 though?
So Geo 82, we did that after Space 220 because we did Space 220. Then we had a test track 3.0 fast pass, which was really awesome. I love the update there. And then we went to Geo 82, and I was a little bit worried because, again, I can only drink mocktails. And I looked at the menu because I tried not to look at menus too much ahead of time. But we looked at the food menu, and we decided like nothing really spoke to us. And I got one of their mocktails there, but I was like, I paid like $17 for like a sip of juice. I'm like, what am I doing here?
The place
Like,
is so expensive. I mean, I know that I complain about prices, but
yeah.
I
I
can
mean,
imagine.
it was like $28 for like a cocktail that my
Yeah.
buddy got. It's like, okay, cocktail's a little bit different, but like if you're going to lounge, it's at GO82, don't even bother with the mocktails. It's just like, you don't want to pay $17 for like a small thing of juice. Like, I'm like, what am I doing here? So like, but it's a really cool spot. The theming is awesome. So it's nice that it's like adults only. It, I like taking breaks in the park. So it was nice going there. I do want to go back once I can drink alcohol again, and kind of experience it. So it was good. I don't have any memorable stories from there besides don't get the mocktail.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, because I mean, I had one old fashioned there, and it was awesome. But it was like, wow. Yeah, I'm so cheap. It's crazy. And I'm with you with like having to change like how you eat because you totally gotta watch that because like I'm having I have stomach issues too. Like I'm having some stuff repaired when I get done with all these 2 races here soon. So I totally, I'm definitely kind of on the same thing with you. So I gotta watch it because I pay the price as soon as I deviate. So I'm with you.
Exactly.
All right. So you also went to the studios. And I've never been to Brown Derby or Brown Derby Lounge, but Pam Forrester loves this place. Is it right for you? Do you like it?
Yeah, so it's been like 12 years since I went to it. I went in 2013, so I had not been back. But my buddy, so I bought a park hopper mostly because of because I did a 2-day ticket, and I didn't know if I wanted to go to Hollywood Studios at all, but I ended up doing so. So when I got there, it was around like 5:30. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go to the lounge. I want to go chill out. I got like a non-alcoholic beer, and I got like the pork belly appetizer, and it was really good. I'm a big fan of pork belly, so I just sat there, kind of chilling, people watching. The lounge is nice. Outside, I didn't really have to wait, very long for a seat, maybe like 5 minutes. But the weather was just gorgeous the entire week I was in Florida. Like I thought the first week of March had good weather. This was even better weather than I've ever experienced because like it just wasn't hot. So it was just nice sitting outside and enjoyed Brown Derby. So
man, when you have good weather, it's just so good. Like especially if it's a little bit cooler back home and you get down to Florida and it's nice, you're just like, oh man, I'm cheating the system. People from the South don't get it, but when you're in the North and it's nice weather at that time of year, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
And what I like to see is you got to have a meet up with one of our other friends from the Discord channel. Nothing makes me happier than seeing people get to make those connections. You guys got to have a good time hanging out in the park there for a little bit.
Yeah. So on the Discord, there's the meetup channel, and I put out like a few weeks beforehand. I was like, hey, I'm going to be here for these dates if anyone wants to meet up at all. And Caitlin, who's one of the listeners as well, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm down there for a conference. Looks like our Epcot days, kind of line up." And she was both on the fence of what if she was going to go to Hollywood Studios. So we rode. We rode Rise of the Resistance. We did Single Rider. So, but we went on that together. Toy Story Mania. We had Slinky Dog Fast Passes, Rock and Roller Coaster. She went on Tower. I can't do Tower, unfortunately, with my motion sickness. But yeah, we hung out, got like some snacks, and then she was gonna stay for Fantasmic, but it was already my 3rd day of being in a park from open to close. So I was just like, I was ready to go home. So I left the park by 9 p.m. And got a late night dinner at Geyser Point. But it was it was fun, meeting up. So it was cool.
I can't tell what's better, a bison burger back at Geyser Point to close out the night or Fantasmic. Boy, that's a Sophie's choice there.
I know. If I had not done
one's a lot more chill, I can tell you that when it's over. Like bison burger, walk back to your room, or go fight the crowds. I don't know. Yeah,
I had done Fantasmic in March when I went on my family trip previously, so I was like, I don't need to do it again. So, but it was nice. I sat down 10 minutes before the Geyser Point was closing. It's food service, And then I got my burger by 10, and at 10 o'clock, the fireworks started.
Nice.
So like the music was piping in
Oh,
from
that's
the
perfect.
holiday party. So the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party. So it was great. I enjoyed it, sitting at the bar by myself with my non-alcoholic beer and
Oh,
burgers.
yeah.
So
Shoot, that's like a dessert party, but like a burger party. I mean, come
yeah,
on.
I
Come on, what are you
was
talking about? That's,
I was
I
having a
didn't-
great time.
I didn't know you're having
so.
all that. Heck yeah, that's awesome. So now so I'm talking about this. I want to get all this stuff in here. Now the rest day, just give us a couple highlights from the rest day, because we got about 10, 15 minutes left. I want to make sure we touch all these other things, but the rest, how do you like focus your rest day? Because people do the rest days, many, resort hopping, pool. Some people do go to Disney Springs to shop, but what'd you do?
Yeah, so my rest day, I knew I was going to be at the pool. Wilderness Lodge is my favorite thing at Disney World. And I was like, all right, I got to just sit by the pool. So I woke up, had my morning coffee on the porch, got breakfast at Whispering Canyon. And then I'm actually doing some home renovations that, kind of has like a modern rustic feel. But I actually walked around. This is something that I don't know if you ever heard anyone do, but I walked around the lodge and I went up and down the elevators to every floor, because on like all the elevators, because there's different artwork on each of the floors. And I was taking pictures of all the paintings to kind of use as inspiration for our home renovation and decor.
I love that. That's awesome. That's super cool. By the way, so did I mention you're staying at Copper Creek? So go ahead.
Copper Creek,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was at a Copper Creek Deluxeville. I'd never stayed at Copper Creek. I've done Boulder Ridge many times, and in the regular lodge. And the Copper Creek was just refurbished this past year. So yeah, the rooms are great. I still prefer the decor over at Boulder Ridge because those were recently refurbished, but still a great room. But yeah, I went to the main pool for a bit, but then I was just like, oh, it's way too noisy here. So then I ended up getting lunch at Geyser Point, and then I went to the DVC pool. I think it's technically the DVC pool, the one by Boulder Ridge, where it was just so much quieter, no kids. So I read my book for like 2 hours. And then, by 3 o'clock, I was waiting till the boats opened to go to Fort Wilderness and Contemporary. So then I could go over there, boat hop, because I love the boats as well. Had to do the boats. I went to Crockett's Tavern. A little disappointed because they didn't have any of the ingredients for the mocktails, and they didn't have any non-alcoholic beer. So I was just like, okay. The wings there, really good. The wings are great.
But you got to have something to drink with them. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah. So then I went to Contemporary, made a quick stop over there to look at like the merchandise. And then, then that night I actually met up with one of my friends who was local. I took a lift over to Pop Century and Art of Animation to then Skyliner hop. So I started over there for the Skyliner. My friend parked at Hollywood Studios, and we met at one of the stations, the Caribbean Beach station, I think. But anyways, we met up, and then we stopped over at Topolino's. So I've only eaten Topolino's breakfast. Did Topolino's Lounge, not busy at all. The food was so good. The ricotta, amazing. I had a really good non-alcoholic mocktail. I think it was called the Bee's Knees. It was really good. And then we decided to stop at the Cake Bake Shop. Cake Bake Shop.
So not worth the $20-some
no,
slice, huh? I love getting people's opinion on this, because it's either there's no in between.
I love carrot cake. It's my favorite kind of dessert, but like, man, the bartender also really hyped it up. I don't know if it's because it was like 8 p.m. when we had this or whatever, but like it was fine. If it just tasted like it was in a refrigerator all day. Like if you're gonna get a cake, go to Steakhouse 71. Go to the bar.
That's why we're friends right there. That's why we're friends. That cake there is undefeated. That's exactly right.
Don't waste the money on a $22 slice of cake. Like me and my friend shared it, and we were just like, yeah, that's fine. I will say the London Fog latte that I had was very good though. That was excellent.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we just went. I never been to the Ale and Compass Lounge, so then we just literally just sat there and chatted for like an hour and a half. We didn't want to see the crowds over by the Skyliner, and then we called it a night. So it was just a very chill. I saw a lot of resorts. Thinking about it now, I saw like 6 to 8 resorts in the afternoon. great pool day. It was like the best kind of rest day.
I say
So,
that is a great day. I mean, that's like with
Yeah.
a capital G. That is
Yeah.
awesome. Let me clarify one thing that you mentioned, because you went from the main pool at Wilderness Lodge to the DVC pool. Kids are allowed at the DVC.
Oh, they
pool.
are, yeah.
But I will say, I had one of my best ever days at that DVC pool, because there's something about it, like it's so themed. It's a big
Yeah.
pool. It's a large pool, and it's got great theming, but it's super quiet. Like even when we were there, because I was there with Scott it was during COVID, like during the height of COVID, when they just reopened the resorts. We were down there, and it was just felt good to be out of the house at that point, and we spent the day in that pool. And it was just one of the greatest days to be out of the house in a swimming pool with my buds. And I remember like Mallory was there with me, Paige and Em and Elizabeth and Scott. And we just had the best day in that pool. And it was just amazing, because we did the same thing. We started the main pool. We're like, now we're going over here. And it felt like it was great. That pool was so much fun. I have great memories.
It's quiet. Yeah. It was very relaxing. I got a lot of reading done. So
good stuff. All right. So tell us about the last day of Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. Some highlights. Oh man, space was down. Boo. It saved your back.
Yeah, I was so disappointed. Space Mountain's my favorite attraction.
Yeah, same.
I got there for early morning rope drop. I knew I was only going to spend a few hours in Magic Kingdom, because Animal Kingdom was more of what I wanted to hit up. So yeah, then I just went to Gaston's and got a treat over there. But the main reason I was going over there was to go to Beacon Barrel. My friend was coming in just to do Beacon Barrel with me, because she had to go to work in the afternoon. So Beacon Barrel was awesome. Luckily the mocktails they have there, they are more fun and exciting than other things. Ricky's talked about it. The cookie, what is it? It was like an Oreos cookie type drink. They were good. The arepas, or I forget what the name of it. But the appetizer with the arepas was so good. The corn cakes, I think it's called the corn cakes, really, really good. But yeah, just super fun theming. Like Disney's got to do way more of this. I kind of wish Geo 82 had more interactive things. I know it's like a more chill, fancier vibe lounge, but Disney, just keep putting in these fun lounges. Just keep plugging those away, because that's they're probably making bank off these.
Well, I'm sure they're making a good fortune on these little, because they're not huge, and they're just they are so, everything in them so expensive. I'm sure they're going to be trying to, where can we squeeze another one of these things in?
I'm fine with it. Do it. This is I want the Imagineers, they let loose on this. Oh my, the theming in there, you could just stand all day and just look at every little thing in there. So the little experiences that happen. There was the ship was you're pretending you're on a ship and you're in a thunderstorm. And I legitimately jumped from the lightning that they had in there, because I was just not expecting it.
And you were having mocktails, remind you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly right. So one of the things people say about that, though, and Scott said, actually 2 or 3 people on the show have said this, it kind of is dependent on where you get sat or where you are within the venue.
Mm-hmm.
Did that matter? I guess you got a good spot. Were you right at the bar, or how was that for you?
So no, I was not right at the bar. I was I was in one of the main areas behind the bar. I got sat at a table with 6 to 8 other people, or 6 other people. So there was 4, 2, and then we were 2. Luckily we got we were sat first, so we got much better seats than everyone else. But we were at a community table, and so we still had a good view of everything. We got to experience everything. I wish I was actually kind of standing at the bar, but it was also nice just not being on my feet anyways. Yeah. So yeah, we got a pretty good spot. But yeah, there's definitely some areas, if you're in the back corner, it's might not be as fun.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, it's just kind of a crapshoot on that, I think. Okay, so let's kind of wrap here with your time over at Animal Kingdom, because you got to do a couple new things over there, including the new Zootopia Zoogether.
Yeah.
I gotta change that.
Yeah, so nothing too exciting at Animal Kingdom. I was really just going there because I wanted to see Pandora at night when it was closing. But also I needed to see the dinosaur, there, I needed to see that for the last time. And then of course, see the Zootopia attraction. I was not that thrilled with it. I like Zootopia, but it just, You know how when you were watching It's Tough to Be a Bug, and like it's just so immersive because you feel like you're in the theater with them. You're the size of a bug, and you're watching them, put this little performance on in front of you. Where Zootopia, the new show, it's like there are a couple, they're on stage for a little bit, but then they break to like a news report, and they go to, sorry, I'm kind of spoiling a little bit here, but they just show you different scenes from other areas of Zootopia. And it just kind of felt like I was watching a movie in 3D, and it just wasn't as immersive as like It's Tough to Be a Bug was. So it was like, it was fine. I'm sure it's going to be, kids are going to love it a lot more than, It's Tough to Be a Bug. But yeah, it was, in my eyes, it was just okay. Would I ride it by myself again? No. Would I bring my kids? Yes, because they would probably enjoy it. So.
I think that's exactly kind of what, I haven't seen it, right? And I'll go with an open mind when I see it, but I think that's exactly kind of where they're going with things. Like the younger generation will like it because they're going to see characters that are familiar to them. They're going to see scenes that are kind of familiar to them that they see on Disney Plus, and it's going to make them kind of instantly like be drawn into it. Where I think kind of our generation, we like that we don't have to have the IP necessarily, even though Tough to Be a Bug had the IP, it was more immersive because it was like it's almost kind of like that whole dilemma back with a long time ago. You probably remember like Snow White Scary Adventures, where it was first person. You didn't see Snow White. You were Snow White, but they had to change it because people were like, where's Snow White? Kind of that thing to make it more, not dumb it down, but just make it more, I guess, accessible. Yeah. So people can relate to the IP possibly. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. Yeah.
So it was fine. So here's the other thing though. On your notes, you're killing me here. You did Flight of Passage twice? I mean, you're killing me. Remy made you 2D, made you sick, and you do I can't do Flight of Passage.
Flight of Passage doesn't bother me. Yeah.
I cannot do that. That kills me.
No. Yeah, I had a fast pass for it. Then my friend was meeting me in the park, and she was like, oh, Flight of Passage, only 25-minute wait. This was 5:30 at this point. Park closes at 6. And I was like, I'll wait for you again because it wasn't dark yet. So I was like, I'll go with you because I want to see Pandora at night anyways. So yeah, I wrote it again. Yeah, I don't again, I think because maybe it's in 3D, I don't have any issues with it.
I can't believe that. That thing gets me. I've tried it I've done it like 3 or 4 times, and every time never hurled or anything, but I'm just like, whoa, man, it messes me up like the rest of the day. Yeah. So Dinosaur, your last ride. I kind of love Dinosaur.
I love Dinosaur.
I do too.
I'm gonna miss it.
Some people hate it. I love it.
I always love it. It's so much fun.
Well, what do you think? Like, I mean, Indy's a better ride though, right? Out at Disneyland.
I love Indiana Jones. For whatever reason, I find the story of Dinosaur to be more fun than that Indiana Jones story.
Really? I do kind of like.
I do think the effects for Indy is better. Because again, I actually just wrote it, back in August, and comparing the two back to back, I still find myself like smiling on Dinosaur way more, just because I don't know, I find it way more fun. And so, yeah.
Dinosaur's definitely more intense. Like it's like, oh,
I think so.
Can't see where you're going. Yeah, it's it's a little crazy. Okay, so so what else about this Animal Kingdom Day and how you also went to Coronado for the very first time ever to Coronado?
Yeah, I've never been to Coronado. I was debating on going to Epcot, but I was like, I've done enough parks. So me and my friend, we ended up driving over to, Coronado. I've been dying to go to Three Bridges. The menu there just looks fantastic. And, as we were walking on the bridge, I was actually taking a photo of the tower. It was so beautiful.
By the way, real quick, the most epic photo ever, by the way. Go ahead. This was amazing.
Well, I was taking a photo, and then what I didn't realize at the time when I took it, after I took it, my friend was like, oh, there's a rocket launch. So in my photo, I have the rocket launch in it. And I took my video, I brought up the video on my camera, and I thought I was taking a video, and I was not. So I was like really disappointed that I didn't get a video of the rocket launch, but it was super cool. I've never seen a rocket launch before. So we were right place, right time to see a rocket go over the tower of Coronado Springs. So, but yeah, it was a great, great time. Three Bridges was excellent. Dahlia Lounge was fun. We caught the Epcot fireworks, and, it was a great end to my time at Disney.
Man, what a trip though. So, because we do got to wrap right at the top of the hour, but as we wrap, I mean, you did 3 resorts. You got to meet a ton of friends down there, kind of an impromptu, like on the fly planning kind of thing. But like lessons learned for folks that are going to do multiple resorts, both Universal and Disney. Any tips for people that are going to have that many variables on a trip? Because it sounds like you had plans, you had a lot of plans, but you also had a lot of fluidity built into your schedule. So what would you tell people trying to do a trip like this?
Yeah. The first thing that came to my mind was I've always used packing cubes, but because I was at 3 different resorts, I kept my clothes in different packing cubes. So I only needed to like pull one out at a time. So I could just, kind of keep my clothes easier access between the 3 resorts. Cause it's like, it is kind of stressful going from, one resort to the next. So I think keeping your clothes in separate packing cubes really helps organization, at least between moving to resorts. But yeah, also just, trying to keep some spontaneity in your schedule. I had things planned, but we also did things on the fly. So yeah. And honestly, because I was moving around so much, I didn't have like dining reservations made except for GO82 and Beacon Barrel, and technically I had one for Space 220, but I canceled that. So
that's kind of how I roll when I go down for my running trips. I don't really make ADRs because there's places you can sit down and have table service if you're a solo, especially if you're a small group. Like you can find them as long as you're not super picky. Like there's always going to be availability at 12 different restaurants.
Yeah,
within striking distance if you want to. But there's always counter service, and the thing is, counter service at Walt Disney World is awesome. Like you're going to have also you get snacks. The thing is, I think that some people sometimes get so stressed about making ADRs for every day and out, every minute, but it's like, you will be fine. It's fun to have, especially if you're really going down there with a goal. Like I really want to eat at Topolino's, or I really want to eat at Cinderella's World. Yes, absolutely get those for the days you're looking at those. That's what ADRs are for, but you don't have to always have them. I think it's a good balance. I think you make a good point with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, hey, appreciate it, Zeebs. Hope you have a great holiday season out in New Jersey, and I can't wait to talk to you again here on the show. We love having you here about every quarter. It's always fun.
Yeah. I already got a couple trips planned for next year. So, I think we already have some stuff scheduled. So thanks, Mike. And real quick, before we get out of here, I want to say that I've been listening to the show for 12 years, and I'm glad that I've left now a mark on your podcast, because the urgent thing, like, that was for me originally, because now everyone makes fun of me for it, but now it's like an inside joke on the podcast. I left a question saying, urgent, and my trip wasn't for another 2 months, but it was because my dining was happening that weekend. That's why I thought it was urgent. So I'm glad I've now left a mark on your podcast after listening for so many years.
We love stuff like that because we can roll with it. Like, it's like dead and gone, and we just keep stomping it into the ground for another 6 months.
Yeah, it's still
we never
going.
know when to let it go. And we appreciate it. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And, that's what a little family does, a little community. That's what we have here.
Absolutely.
So it's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. We'll catch you over in the Discord, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right. Don't forget the show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We are standing by this week to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Even Adventures by Disney trip for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys are the all-stars that make this show happen. So a huge thank you to each and every one of you. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We should love to have you at patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Give me a follow on social media at BeOurGuestMike. That's on Instagram, X.com, and Threads. And make sure you like the Be Our Guest Podcast on Facebook. To search for the Be Our Guest Podcast over there. We have all the shows, all the information, everything happening over there. And we have our Clubhouse. That's our Discord server. It's like a live chat / message board. Zeebs is there. I'm there. Everybody's there. It's a great Disney community. It's free for everybody. We don't charge for ours. It's totally free. Come on over. Your invitation's waiting. BeOurGuestPodcast.com/clubhouse. And finally, we'll have a live call-in show this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We'll get Scotty G on the line. We'll open up the phones. You'll be on the line. We'll all have a good time talking Disney. So join us at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central 5 places: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. Any of those places, tune in. We'll be there. You too. And we'll take your calls. All right, we're jumping out of here. We'll be back again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. So send those in right now to mike@beourguestpodcast.com. Quick to get them in. If you put urgent, you won't get on the show. No, just kidding. You might. We'll see. You never know. We got to put your level of urgency. All right, we're jumping out of here. For Zeebs, I'm Mike. Wishing you a great Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.